2025 Mr. Olympia is in the books. I'm going to go over the top 6. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Before I talk about the top 6 placings, let me just run through the top 10. We have new and once again Mr. Olympia, Derek Lunsford. Hadi Choopan, second. Andrew Jack, third. Samson Dauda, fourth. Martin Fitzwater, fifth. Nick Walker, sixth. Brandon Curry, seventh. Tonio Burden, eighth. William Bonac, ninth. And Vitaly Ugolnikov, Good Vito, 10th. First, before I get into the top 6, let me extend my apologies to William Bonac and Brandon Curry, who I did not have in the top 10. And I've always been fans of theirs. William Bonac has always been one of my favorite bodybuilders of all time. I just didn't see them in the top 10. I'm very happy for them. Let's get into the top 6. I'm going to start off with 4 through 6. Fourth place, Samson Dauda. There was questions about whether he was going to be able to retain his title and how high he would be able to place. After we saw him at his guest posing recently, where he did appear like he was going to be in his best conditioning to date, but he also appeared to be downsized. Question is he sacrificing too much size for the conditioning? Is it going to backfire on him? Which it obviously did. He might have cut, at least he looks like he might be 20 pounds less when he stepped on stage at the Olympia this year than when he stepped on the stage at the Olympia last year. When all said and done, if his conditioning was any better, it was very, very slight. Whatever he gained in conditioning was not worth the sacrifice in muscle. Some people argue that Martin Fitzwater, who placed 5th, could have placed 4th. Martin Fitzwater brought in a very good package. He was off the radar for the most part. After his 4th place finish last year, he did win a pro at Prague, the Prague Pro. He did win that, and that qualified him for this year's Olympia, beating Chris Bumstead, but he didn't bring in the same package that he brought for the Olympia. And then at Pittsburgh, looked like he slipped even more. Kind of fell off the radar. He wasn't posting a lot. He showed up. He brought a great package. Arguably, he could have been 4th. I think he brought in an improved package from last year, and let's see where he goes from here. At least he got a victory over one of his rivals, Nick Walker, who placed 6th. What can I say there? I didn't say in a previous video I did about Nick. When he walked on stage, he knew things weren't going to go good. You could see it on his face. I think at that point he was just going through the motions. There was no wow factor. When he stepped out there wasn't a wow. Nick needs to have 2 things. He's never going to be the prettiest guy on that stage. That's no questioning that. He needs to bring in this crazy, freaky muscularity, which he typically does. He's a pretty big freak. but he needs to also bring in conditioning at a level that's above what we see from most people out there. Typically, Nick brings in next level conditioning, and that's what we expected to see, a bigger package with that next level conditioning, and just wasn't there. Uh, he looked smooth uh, a lot of times while he was up there on stage. Uh, and he might have gotten lucky. Brandon Curry could have taken that sixth place finish from him. This is coming from a big Nick Walker fan. If you've seen my videos in the past, you know I'm a big Nick Walker fan, but it is what it is. I wouldn't write him off so fast. I'm not sure what went wrong. I'd love to hear what he has to say. All I can say is I just won't write him off that fast. But he has a lot to, in my mind now, he has a lot to prove. Will he prove it? Okay, first, second, and third, Derek Walker, Hadi Choopan, Andrew Jack. Derek brought a good package. I am not going to deny that. He brought a better package than he brought to last year's Olympia. He didn't bring in as good a package as brought to this year's Arnold, or even the Pittsburgh Pro. Think he brought a better package to the Arnold. He's full. Even his legs remain full. There was always a criticism about him when he dieted down for the shows. By the time he stepped on stage, he lost a lot of pop in his legs. But you know what? At the end of the day, what I said about Samson, about he looked a little soft and smooth, Derek Lunsford, he did have a soft look to him in a lot of the shots, especially compared to Hadi Choopan, who placed second, who I would have had first. You can say that, well, Derek has better structure than Hadi. Yeah, he might have better structure than Hadi, but he doesn't blow him out of the water by any means. Hadi does not have bad structure at all. Hadi has good structure. Derek just happens to have a little better structure. The level of muscularity and conditioning, I think Hadi was his biggest on stage. His conditioning, if it wasn't at the level it was at the Arnold Classic that he beat Samson, it was close to it. And at the end of the day, I think the level of muscularity and conditioning, the hardness that Hadi brought to the stage, I would have had him first and Derek second, which leads me to Andrew Jack. I owe Andrew an apology also. I had him for the last 2 years, he was fifth. First year in the Olympia, he was seventh. I had him dropping back down to seventh. Truth is, I haven't seen any improvements over the last few years that he's been on stage. And there are things that he needs to fix. And like I just said, they weren't happening. I think, and I've said it before, I think the only reason why he's been able to win the shows and play so high in the Olympia in the past is simply because he's such an imposing figure on that stage. And that just makes up and counters some of the negative. This Olympia, he brought in a level of conditioning that we never saw from him before. Do I think made improvements where he needed to make improvements? Uh, I think his posing got a little better, which was not that great. But as far as the physique, things that he needs to improve, I don't think they changed either. Still haven't changed. But I think what brought him to up to a third place finish simply was the fact that he brought in a level of conditioning that we never seen from him before. But you have to question if someone like a Samson didn't come in so downsized and brought in at the very least conditioning he brought to last year's Olympia. Could this condition improved Andrew have beaten him? Probably not. I would bet not. At the end of the day, this was a very, very exciting Olympia. Very tough to call. Even though my placing order was not very good, I do take some solace in the fact that 8 of the 10 people that I picked for the top 10 actually made it to the top 10. It was a great Olympia. Once again, the Olympia changed hands. It's just telling us that just because you're a Mr. Olympia is not giving you any advantage coming into the following year's Olympia. You're going to have to earn it. Once again, personally, I would have saw the placings a little different, but beyond that, I'm not making much of a fuss about anything. If you agree or disagree with anything I've said in this video, please let me know in the comments section. This is Michael Diamond. I'd like to thank you for watching Muscle Central.